It doesn't get much better than your Olympic debut for Luka Doncic as he go absolutely berserk on Argentina in a statement win in Tokyo. This is the Gray Area right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. And you can find me on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers. 105.3 The Fan. Luka Doncic continues to prove at 22 years of age why he is an incredible prodigy when it comes to playing the game of basketball on the biggest stage under the brightest lights in his first Olympic basketball game. Luka Doncic leads Team Slovenia to a 118-100 win and drops 48 points on 18 of 29 shooting, going 6 of 14 from the three-point line, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. Yeah, I know, right? 11 rebounds and 5 assists. Luka Doncic dropped 31 points in a scintillating first half, capped off by a dagger three, and helped Team Slovenia absolutely rout Argentina, led by 41-year-old and five-time Olympian Luis Scola. Luka Doncic continues to prove why he may be the best player in this tournament for the Olympics. Joe Vardon of The Athletic had written an article previous to the start of the Olympics saying that Luka Doncic is the best basketball player in this Olympic tournament. I happen to disagree with that a little bit, saying that, Kevin Durant was still the best player in this tournament. But after what you saw with respect to how Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard and Drew Holiday, who combined to score less points than Luka Doncic did in their loss in their opening game against Team France, you see why folks could get to the idea that Luka Doncic would be the best player in this tournament. He dropped 48 points in this game, 31 points in the first half on a variety of moves, the step-back threes, crisp, great passes that he was making to his teammates, getting inside, doing a lot of things that you and I have seen Luka Doncic do as a Maverick and continue to improve in his game, getting inside, putting defenders in jail with the little floaters in the lane, the step-back corner threes, the threes from the top of the key. Luka Doncic was doing everything and completely in his bag all night long for Team Slovenia. Him being on the world stage and playing the way that he did obviously continues to have us marvel at his game. But more importantly, if you're an NBA free agent, you may look at Luka Doncic doing and what he's doing on the world stage and saying, you know what, maybe there's a reason why the hype is around this 22-year-old kid who's a first-team All-NBA selection over the last couple of years and arguably one of the 5 best players in the world who was going to be a perennial MVP candidate for the next 10 or so years. Maybe there's a reason why the hype is around this kid, and now Doncic gets to prove it on the world stage and did so, and announcing himself in a big way. The Olympic record for points in a game is 55, and he was threatening that as the night continued to go on, as we continue to wonder, Argentina is getting thoroughly blown out here. Slovenia's got the game well in hand. Why continue to keep Luka Doncic in the game? Well, he was getting close to that 55-point mark, and more importantly, wanted to continue to pour it on Argentina if it has to come down to some kind of tiebreaker when it comes to total points and those kinds of things. But look, it was a lot of fun to watch. Hopefully you stayed up. It was at 11:40 p.m. Dallas time. Obviously a super late watch when you're coming to watch Olympic basketball. But if you did stay up, you watched Luka Doncic do what he's been doing over the last couple of years, and really since he stepped foot in the league a few years ago. That is shine the brightest on the biggest stage in the world and dominate in a way that we haven't seen guys his age do in his career, especially when you start thinking about the pressure that's on the Olympic stage. This is a young man that's carrying an entire country on his back at 22 years of age, taking a country of 2.1 million people, qualifying for the Olympics for the very first time. Also, don't forget, Team Slovenia is undefeated when Luka Doncic plays basketball for Slovenia. That is how much of a difference this young man continues to make when it comes to international competition. And the international game is certainly dominant when Luka Doncic continues to play the way that he did. Yes, he did pick up a technical foul, so you got the complete Luka experience in this game against Argentina. The 48 points, the 18 of 29 from the field, the variety of the game, the amazing passes that you saw throughout this basketball game, but also the volatility and the mercurial superstar that we've come to know and love since he has stepped foot in Dallas. But if you're Mark Cuban, if you're Nico Harrison, if you're Jason Kidd, you look at what Luka Doncic did and say, hey, That's a better recruiting tool than anything we could come up with. A kid that is shining at 22 years of age on the biggest stage in the world, putting an entire country on his back to try and get them to the podium, and then putting on an absolute performance in his first Olympic game where the pressure for him to perform is going to be sky high for him, and then him delivering. Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that if you're watching Nico Harrison, and obviously if you're Jason Kidd looking at Luka Doncic and what he's doing. Free agency is coming up for this Mavericks basketball team starting on August the 2nd. Decisions obviously have to be made on Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Richardson if he decides to opt into his near $12 million player option. Do you renounce the team option on Willie Cauley-Stein? All of that really pales in comparison to what Luka Doncic is doing right now for Team Slovenia and what he could be doing as a recruiting tool to lure possible free agents, guys like Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul, and others who may consider potentially signing with the Dallas Mavericks. Knowing that you could play with this kid who's doing these things in the Olympics right now, and knowing that he could be your teammate, knowing what he has done in the NBA, especially over the last 2 years being a first-team All-NBA selection, it might be a little more enticing to play with the guy in Luka Doncic. But it doesn't get much better than watching Luka in his very first game drop 48 points and do it on a stage that is the biggest and brightest right now out in Tokyo, and doing it against international competition for the entire world to see. My man was trending all over Twitter. Mavs Twitter was all over it. Regular Twitter was all over it. Any and everyone who's a basketball fan was absolutely marveling at what they were watching with one Luka Doncic, as they should. We haven't seen really this before from a guy his age. And for Doncic at 22 years old, what he did against Argentina, it should definitely be celebrated. If you're a Mavericks fan, you're absolutely loving what you're watching, of course. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. Luka Doncic gets back on the floor for Team Slovenia a little bit later on this week. It's another 11:40 p.m. start time, so set your clock and set your watch to make sure you get an alert to see Luka Doncic dominate potentially again. Again, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Hit that subscribe button right there for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. It's been another episode of The Gray Area. We'll talk to you later. Peace.